Hey guys, it's Aaron Farmer with My Sugar Free Journey, and it's time for another Weight Loss Wednesday, and this is one of the Weight Loss Wednesdays I've been looking forward to for a while because I finally kind of hit my first mark that I've been shooting for, which is I'm finally under 275. Which is a big deal. That's 25 pounds lost for the month. This morning I was 274.7. So just under 25 pounds lost for the month. That's so exciting for me. I'm really, it's just so cool to see the weight continue to come off. And I've noticed it kind of comes off like it'll go like just barely, and then in 2 days I'll lose an entire pound, and then it'll plateau a little bit, and then so it's not like I'm looking at the line, where I track when I'm how much I'm losing, and it's not like this. It's like it really is. It's kind of stair step down, but still it's going down, and that's great. I'm excited to say that I've lost 25 pounds. 275 is easily the smallest I've been, since I was 30, maybe even before that. I'm not even sure. It's been a long time since I've been even this small. In fact, I'm looking at those old pictures and the old videos and stuff over at the grocery shop for free at the Mart site that where I'm, those first few years. Yeah, I was a big guy, and it's so cool to kind of see, my face. I had these huge chipmunk cheeks. I've decided that once I get down to 250, I'm going to post a picture of me at my heaviest, where it's just from the shoulders up, and I just look like a thumb with a face drawn on it. It just looks so crazy. It's pretty bad, but it is neat to be able to look back on that and see the weight come off, and to see the difference that this diet has made. So I couldn't be happier. 274.7, 275, whatever. It's exciting to see. I said last week that I'd finished Gary Taub's book, Good Calories, Bad Calories. And again, could not recommend that book enough. It is such an amazing book. It is like drinking from a fire hose because there's just a ton of information in there. In fact, it's the kind of book that I feel like if I put it aside for maybe 6 months, and if I go back and read it again, I feel like I'll get more out of it because there's just so much information in there. The first part was fascinating, just how we kind of as a American society got from, where we used to eat eggs and bacon every morning for lunch, for dinner, and steak and whatever for dinner, and how we got, because of really the acts of one man, Ansel Keys, how we got to the place where our doctors are telling us that avocados are bad and to eat more whole grains, and all this weight loss advice that just doesn't work. And then the other section, it's the last section that I've kind of been chewing on, that I've probably spent the last week kind of mulling over. I'm going to write a post about it. I think I'm going to get to it this week, but I just needed to think through it. And the idea is, and this is real simple. Like I'm oversimplifying what he said. So if you're interested in the science behind it, I recommend you read the book. But the crux of it is all about insulin. So insulin is a fat storage hormone. Like when insulin is in your bloodstream, that's your body's signal that we've got higher blood sugar. We need to deal with it, so we need to store fat. So store fat. And so when you eat something that triggers a high insulin response, like carbs and sugar and potatoes and those kind of things, you get that insulin response, and that's your body's signal to store fat. So the secret to losing weight is it's not counting calories, and it's not exercising 4 hours a day and all that other stuff. It really is just blunt that insulin response. Just get that insulin out of your system, and don't eat things that cause a huge sugar spike, a blood sugar spike, and make that insulin hit your bloodstream, which causes your body to store fat. So if you can eat in such a way that causes your body to not have that huge insulin response every time you eat, well, then your body's going to want to use the fat that it has stored. And that's probably the other thing, is that your body really wants to be thin. It really does want to be healthy. But you gotta give it, you gotta kind of help it. Because if you're always causing your body to be flooded with insulin, your body's going to continue to store fat, constantly store fat, and you're just going to get bigger and bigger. But if you can eat a different way, if you can take the things out that cause that insulin response, again, we're talking carbs, we're talking, and when I say carbs, I mean simple carbs, breads, grains, that's the word I'm looking for, grains, sugar, grains, carbs, potatoes, those kind of things. If you could take those out of your diet, then it's not that you're eating less. In fact, I'm probably not eating less now than I ever have before, in my life. I'm probably eating just as much. But your body just reacts to it differently. Like, you can eat 2,000 calories of carbs and 2,000 calories of fat and protein, and your body reacts in different ways to those two diets. It's not about calories, and it's not about energy, energy in, energy out, or anything. It's just about giving your body the chance to do what it needs to do with the food that you eat. And that's controlling that insulin response. And whenever you talk about insulin, it's diabetes is kind of the first thing that comes to your mind. But I'm not a diabetic. I've never been diagnosed with that. Praise God. Which my wife was diagnosed at one point as a type 2 diabetes, which is what kind of started this whole journey for us. It's just about, if you want to lose weight, it's just blunting that insulin response in any way that you can. That's why there's so many diets out there that work. Atkins diet works. South Beach diet works. The Wild diet, it's Abel James's diet, it works. And probably all the other, the cabbage soup diet, it works. And they all work for the same reason. They all work because they blunt that insulin response. It's not about reducing your calories. It's about controlling that insulin response when you eat, and giving your body the chance to use the fat that's already stored, as opposed to storing fat whenever you eat. So however you're going to eat, maybe you just cut out the sugar, maybe you cut out the carbs, maybe you do the Wild diet, maybe you do the Atkins diet. They all have these little paleo. They all have these little what do you call it? Nuances, differences. But I mean, that's what they all have in common, is they control the insulin. They control your body's insulin response. So that's where I'm at right now, and that's kind of my mindset as I move forward through this. Is it's not just about cutting out the sugar, and I know this site is called My Sugar-Free Journey, and I'm going to stay true to that mission, but it's also about not just sugar, but anything that your body can convert to sugar. And again, carbs, breads, those kind of things. And to get that insulin response down. And now that I know that, and that's why I think education is so crucial. Like, if you're trying to lose weight, honestly, more than exercise, more than diet, I think probably the most important thing that you could do is read a book or listen to a podcast. And if you want some recommendations, let me know, and I will definitely recommend a few to you. Just to get that education into your head and to help you think through the choices that you're making, and to make the right decisions. Actually, let me recommend a few books for you. Good Calories, Bad Calories by Gary Taubes. Keto Clarity by Jimmy Moore is a good one. That's actually the one that I'm on to read now. That one's pretty good. Fat Chance by Dr. Robert Lustig. That was an incredible book. And then Dr. Perlmutter in his book is Grain Brain, also a fantastic book. If you want to listen to podcasts, which is kind of easier for me to get information through podcasts because I walk the dog and I'm outside a lot. So Vinnie Tortorich's Angriest Trainer podcast is probably my favorite. I mean, it's easily my favorite. That's the one I've probably listened to everything he's done for 4 or 5 years now, and he's just really entertaining, and he knows his stuff. Abel James's podcast is something Wild Diet. I forget the name of his podcast, but I've only started listening to that for a few weeks, and that one's pretty good. I know Jimmy Moore has a podcast. I've never listened to it, but I'm sure, based on the book that I'm reading, I'm sure the podcast is good too. So there's a lot of people out there with a lot of information. Information that if you keep it in your ears, if you keep it in front of your eyes, if you take a few minutes each day to educate yourself more and more about what food does to your body, I think that you're gonna see that that losing weight it's easy. I don't want to say it's easy. That losing weight is possible. That if you've been on a lot of yo-yo diets in the past, that there's a hope on the other side of it. Now, I know that this video I've been droning on for too long, so 10 minutes is way too long for these videos. So if you've listened to this far, man, I appreciate it. You've stuck through to the end. I really appreciate that. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel to make sure that you never miss a video. Please subscribe to the daily email for mysugarfreejourney.com. That way you'll get each post mailed out to you. And I appreciate you guys watching. We will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.